one crusade. Slide that way. It'll be good morning. Good morning. I know I'm a few minutes early, but I'm just going to share the stream and put it into Teams. Is it going to allow me to do it? Yes, it is. If anyone's watching Love Island, I am sporting a Shauna t-shirt. You know, when Callum came back from Castlemore and she went, "Congrats, hun." Loved that saying, so I thought I'd do my little t-shirt with it. Right, got everything that I need. Just let a few people join. If anyone joins, I have no doubt that my dog will come up, so I've left the door open ready. Not that you're going to be able to see him anymore because of my new setup, but let's crack on then, shall we? So you guys are a few weeks behind the other guys, but that's absolutely fine. So let's do a quick recap to get your brains into the Cold War. So we started with, we have the Grand Alliance of the UK, the USA and the USSR all meeting in Tehran, with Churchill leading the UK, FDR, so Franklin D. Roosevelt, leading the USA, and Joseph Stalin leading the USSR. They meet in Tehran to decide how they are going to tackle their common enemy of the Nazis. So despite their suspicions of each other, as in Churchill and Stalin, they carry on and they have a common enemy that they need to defeat. Now, they agree at Tehran that Japan are also a problem, so Stalin will enter the war with Japan after the Nazis have been defeated, on the sole basis that the Americans and the British open a second front up in France in 1944. Yeah, because they were meeting in 1943. Now, that happens and everything goes really well. They've got the Grand Alliance. So you've now got two fronts open. So Germany are fighting the Russians in the east and the UK and USA in the west. So they are split between the two, which weakens the Nazis. So that's when you've got your things like D-Day, which the other day was 76 years since the D-Day landings. There's a bit of topical facts for you. They meet again then in the Yalta Conference in 1945. Now, things are going a lot better for the Allies at this point. There's been a definite shift in that it's definitely shifting towards the Nazis being defeated rather than the Allies being defeated, which is really good. Now, they agree that Germany is going to be divided into 4, and they agree that Berlin is also going to be divided into 4, and they'll each take a zone. They agree that they are going to have Russia involved in the Japan element. Again, they just cement that. They also agree about free elections and giving some land of Poland to Stalin. There is a few disagreements on what free elections should look like and what sort of compensation that Russia is going to receive, because there's no secret is Russia did actually suffer the worst out of World War II, and a lot of people died due to the Nazis' invasion of Russia. Now, so everything's okay. The three leaders are sort of on the same page. FDR usually agrees with Stalin to try and keep the peace, and things are looking really good. However, in between the Yalta and the Potsdam Conference, FDR has complications linked to his polio and unfortunately dies, and is taken. His place is taken by his vice president, Harry S. Truman. Now, Truman was an anti-communist, really did not like communism, was very suspicious of Stalin, and didn't really like the way that his previous boss had been handling the situation in Russia. Now, also, when they get to the Potsdam Conference, Churchill turns up. He really was quite naive in turning up because he was in the middle of fighting an election. Now, during that election, Churchill actually loses and is replaced at the conference, quite embarrassingly, by the new Prime Minister, Clement Attlee. When Clement Attlee arrives, he's like, I'm really sorry, guys. I know I need to be here because I'm part of the Grand Alliance, but I'll be really straight with you. I don't really want to be here. Britain don't really want to do this anymore. We've got an empire that is draining our money. We are absolutely broke because of World War II. I have a lot of broken men coming back, and I need to sort out a health service for them and a welfare system for them. So you two sort it out. I'll stay here for the pictures, but that's it. And this really then cements that there's our two superpowers in the world, the USA and the USSR. Now, at this conference, they agree that Stalin is now entering the war with Japan. That's sort of sealed. They agree that they are going to split Germany into four. That's set in stone, along with Berlin. They agree they're going to hunt down some Nazi war criminals. They are going to set up elections in the countries that are now kind of this big void after the Nazis have been defeated. And they also agree to set up a United Nations. That's one key one I've forgotten, sorry. And that is solidified after they've been talking about it for the past three conferences. However, they do agree that Stalin deserves to be compensated, just like they did at the Yalta conference. However, they disagree on how they're going to be compensated. Now, if you remember, George Clemenceau from France in our Germany course really wanted to punish Germany after World War I because France had been so badly affected. Similarly, Stalin wants the same for Germany at this point. He wants to crush them. He wants revenge. He is not happy with Germany. Now, bearing in mind, Hitler and the Nazis have been either killed themselves or been rounded up, and it's not really the fault of the German people as much as they went along with it. I need to stop touching my hair. Sorry. He wants to crush Germany. He doesn't want them to be in a position where they can invade again. Germany has invaded Russia a couple of times now, and Russia's been invaded quite a bit in its history. They are over it. So Truman says, fine, you can be reimbursed for all the problems. However, you're not having money and you're not crushing them. That's not happening. We're not having to repeat the Treaty of Versailles. They eventually agree that they are going to have, Germany's going to give some of its industrial products and land to Russia. However, it is not really what Stalin wants. They also agree on the free elections, but they disagree on what they look like. So in a capitalist vote, so like in the UK, sort of in the USA is sort of an anomaly here. You have lots of different people on the ballot representing lots of different parties. So sort of everybody's ideas are represented. In a communist vote, there are lots of different names, but they're all from the same party. They're not from different parties. So you've got kind of which communist do you like the most? And they disagree heavily over that. Truman also sort of goes, oh, and by the way, Stalin, I know we're meant to tell everybody, each other everything. And I've told Britain to Britain no, so you're fine. I know you've just joined the war with Japan. We're, super grateful. But I've just been testing the atomic bomb that's totally going to wipe out hundreds of thousands of people and basically get Japan to submit. Hope that's okay. And Stalin's like, what? Excuse me? I was meant to know about this. And that causes a lot of tension. We then move on, just to double check myself. Yeah. Yay. We then move on to looking at the Soviet expansion. Okay, so the Soviets expand across Europe. I know we've done it in a slightly different order. They expand across Europe. Okay, and they leave their soldiers there. They set up a communist government. They remove all of the media and freedoms of people to try and keep them there. They are very harsh. They arrest people that are not supportive, and they create this buffer zone, this Soviet sphere of influence, okay, in Eastern Europe, all the way up to Eastern Germany. Now, we've got the Long and the Novikov telegrams, okay? So where George Kennan writes to Truman and says, you shouldn't trust Stalin. He doesn't know, he's not actually meaning what he says. He is a threat. You need to prepare. And Novikov then replies to Stalin saying, yo, the USA, they're not like what they say they are. They are totally going to be a world dominating power. You need to look after yourself. Boom, tension everywhere. We then finally have the speech by Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill goes now to Fulton, Missouri in America, and he gives a speech to Truman and his dignitaries and says, an iron curtain has descended over Europe. Now, when you listen to it, it's very divisive language. It's whips up the tension, and it basically says that there is now a border between East and West. And that's where we left it on Monday last week. That's an important email I can address in a moment. So we've now got tensions going really high. Things are not going well for the Grand Alliance. It's broken down. And Truman then whips up the tension a little bit more and starts to heat the Cold War up by the Truman Doctrine of 1947. Okay, let's pop this up on my board. Now, the Truman Doctrine can be completely summarized and described in this one word: containment. Now, if you've got a container, she's looking around her room to see if I have one, and don't have a container to hand. But if you look at a container, it's there to keep things together. Am I right? Yes, Miss Martin, you are. So your lunch, if you bring lunch in a packed lunch every day, it will come in a box or a bag or something to keep it from spilling all over your bag. And the idea of the Truman Doctrine even was to make sure that Stalin and his... That was a weird noise. Let's plow on. Stalin and his communism would stay in the East. They would not come any further. Please bear with me 1 second. Come on then. Come on. My dog was crying. I do apologise. So that the West wouldn't be infected by communism. Come here, you silly sausage boy. Right. Come and sit and learn about communism. Now, when you... this was a real change for America, and it was really significant because America had been kind of keeping themselves to themselves. After what they saw as the disaster of World War I, how they got involved, how many lives were lost, and kind of thought, you know, Europe needs to keep itself to itself. They was what we call isolationist. They sort of looked after themselves. They didn't get involved in any of the squabbles or mini wars or anything between World War I and World War II. They just kept themselves to themselves. Now, the Truman Doctrine was a major thing because it signaled that Truman and America were willing to get involved in foreign affairs, things that were outside America. Now, this is done. I'm just double checking I'm covering it all for you. Yeah. This is all done then, or proved in the example of Greece. Let's look at Greece. Can you lay down? Can you lay down? Good boy. Okay, so here's what's going on in Greece. You can stay where you are. You're okay, bud. Please don't leave me with my dog onto my bed. Lay there. He wants to be in on the Cold War. It's that exciting. Now, Greece. There was a communist government initially during World War II, I believe, and the communist government are running Greece and everything is all good. However, since 1944, Greece had been in a civil war as the communist government lose an election and a royalist government capitalist government take over. Now, the communists couldn't accept this loss and engage in what we call a guerrilla war. And this then meant that the communists were helped by neighbouring communist countries, and the Greek government that were now capitalists were struggling. Britain gets involved and is like, yeah, we'll help you. It's all good. Here's some money. We'll help. And then it gets to the end of kind of World War II, 1946-47 time, and Britain run out of money. So Truman gets involved. He says, yeah, not a problem. I will happily help you with your plight, Greece. And he got loads of dog hair on me, please excuse me. And that then means that the Greek government, so this capitalist government, are able to defeat the communists. All right. So that's a really, really good thing. Really, really good thing. For Greece anyway, I suppose. I'm not communist, so the policy is all about containment, and it's aiming to achieve complete pushing back of communism from the East. And one action that it takes, which you'll have a look on your sheet that I've given you, is you can talk about Greece. Now, I have scanned in these 2 pages of the textbook to help you with your notes. So that's all about the Truman Doctrine. Now, it's quite simple in that the Truman Doctrine is talking all about containment. Brilliant, that's fantastic. But how are you actually going to fund it? Well, that's easy. So the Truman Doctrine is funded by Marshall Aid or the Marshall Plan. Now, you can call it either. I grew up and did my degree knowing it as Marshall Aid. However, your textbook says it's the Marshall Plan, but that doesn't mean that one's wrong and one's right. They're both right, okay? Now, Truman didn't want to commit the military. They'd just been in, hello, Bum. Now, dog number 2 has arrived. Hello. They didn't want to commit military because they'd just been in a war. So financial aid was the best way forward. Now, Marshall Aid is a staggering, I want to say 17 billion. It is. Let's see if I can draw. I can draw a dollar sign. $17 billion worth of aid to these European countries. Now, it wasn't like, oh, here's money, it's a free handout. There was a slight catch with this money. If you took money from America, you then effectively pledged your allegiance, your support to America. So what was the policy or this? It was financial aid to support the Truman Doctrine. What was its aim? Well, its aim was to secure people's countries, how do I put it? Loyalty to America and the West, and capitalism for that fact. So it was all about maintaining the loyalty to America. What action did it take then? Well, it was a the program of aid was to offer all war-torn countries money to help them rebuild, get them equipment, basically boost their economic recovery. Some of them was then in exchange for their investment in US companies. Others, like Britain, it was the investment in US companies, but also putting in military bases into the UK. Now, just to kind of show you, the UK, you do have a better version, I promise, on your scanned in version. The UK received the most money from Marshall Aid. We ended up having, I can't read it back to front, $3,176 million. $3,176 million from America. And that's why then they put military bases in here. France was a close second, followed by West Germany. But you can see there was lots of European countries, Portugal, Yugoslavia, Turkey, Denmark, Austria, the Netherlands, Italy, Greece. I can't read that last one. Belgium and Luxembourg. I do apologise. It's hard to see when you're reading like back to front. Oh, my scabby nails. So lots of countries received it, and it was in order to have their support. As you can imagine, our friend Joseph Stalin was not happy about it. He was like, whoa, 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 whoa. This plan is for your own selfish interests, so you can bog off there. And it's to dominate Europe, to boost the American economy. And he felt it was a real divide in Europe, which it was. And it then meant that the Soviet Union and the USA were now definitely intent on being the most powerful country in Europe, depending on what side you were on, and definitely created a lot more tension between the two. And as we'll look out on Thursday, it is a direct cause of Stalin's next actions, the Truman and the Marshall Aid plan of 1947. So what I'd like you to do is pretty straightforward. I want you to tell me at least one thing about what the policy was about. You can literally write one word for the Truman Doctrine, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And what the policy was about for the Marshall Plan. Well, it was supporting that, wasn't it? What does it aim to do? Well, the aim for the Truman Doctrine was to make sure that communism didn't spread any further, and also to make sure that is to stop the spread of communism. I can't really explain it any better than that. And for the main aim of Marshall Aid was to give financial aid to these war-torn countries. What actions did they take? Well, you can talk about Greece for the Truman Doctrine, and then you can also talk about how about the UK receiving bases and the investment in US companies for the Marshall Aid. That's all I want you to do. If you can't write on the PowerPoint, I did attach a PDF. Just answer the questions on a Word document. If you have any questions, give me a shout. Please start engaging with this work. It's really, really important. It is your GCSE. Have a good day. See you on Thursday. Bye.